Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Absolutely Women's Football Show International Special. I tried to surround myself with as many international tops as I could muster, but we hope you are all well. Now, you might have noticed we have someone missing that we did have on the original lineup. Rosie, unfortunately, has come down with plague. We've sent the plague doctor over with his witch mask. Haven't heard yet, so maybe she'll rise, maybe she won't. But we are assuming she will be joining us this evening, but we do wish her the speediest of recoveries. I do have, though, although Emma says, is she in the loft? Maybe that's where all the medicine is kept. And she keeps in. Paul, we've got an evening Nancy already.
Yep. Here she is. Come on, say hello.
Just over a minute. Hey, Nancy's in fine voice this evening, and she's there.
There you
Black
go.
Cat for Halloween tomorrow.
I'm looking very unimpressed.
She's like, oh, it's Wednesday again.
Come on there. There we go.
Why is this happening? But good evening to everyone in the chat. Mark, I always love that you're always the first one here. Good evening. He hopes we're all safe and well. Good evening to Emma. Good evening to Graham, who calls us amazing. Thank you very much. You might change my Graham in a couple of minutes, but we'll keep it. We'll keep it from the outset. Good evening to Matthew as well. Yes, we can't wait, mate. Thank you very much. And good evening to our lovely Sam as well. Good evening. Now, it seems like everyone knows that Wednesday is Team Chaos Day, so they've released all of their news all at once. So again, I've had to rearrange what I'm going to talk to you about, to be honest. But I can't do it by myself. Chloe, I hope you're still there. At the moment, you're just mid-tea drink. So how are you? Lovely to see you, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I'm doing good. There seems to be some internet bugs or whatever going on tonight. Hopefully.
I was going to say, you sound like you're underwater.
Well.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Hey, the chaos has started. Not even 3 minutes in, guys. We're not even 3 minutes in. And Johnny's just joined us as well. Hey, Johnny, you're right on time for some chaos. Paul, how are you?
Not too bad. Chaotic.
Chaotic as always. We've got a new hashtag, of course, but we won't. Obviously, it's a bit self-explanatory, but we'll reveal all a bit later, won't we, for this one. So get your popcorn ready if you haven't got it already. Graham said Chloe's internet has the plague too. Yes, plague is catching, and it's nearly Halloween. So of course, we've got a day to go.
I've gone black nails for Halloween.
Black nails for Halloween. Very good.
Emo fashion.
I actually saw on Facebook, this is completely random, one of the girls I went to school with, her daughter went as a plague doctor for Halloween. And I just thought that with full mask, full proper beak and everything. And I was like, that's a shout. That's did not expect it. I think she's only 12. And I was like, yeah, good shout that one. So yeah, just thought I'd let you all know. Right then, what I thought we could do first, because again, like I said, a couple of things have come out in the news today. So I've got a couple of things that we'll just whiz through quickly, unless anyone has any thoughts and points to bring up. That goes for the chat as well. So do keep us, if you've got any questions, anything like that, do give us a shout. So I thought we could do quick news, talk about England versus Germany, even though we really don't want to. Then we'll have a little break in between to talk about the other games that have been going on in the international break. And then we'll talk about the South Africa game as well to finish, because we always like to finish on a high note, don't we? So let's start with our news. So it was announced today that Vivianne Miedema has undergone surgery again on her left knee, which was the same one that she did her ACL. So we do wish her the speediest of recoveries, but there's no news on how long she'll be out or anything like that. So we're hoping the next few days we'll hear more from her. But yeah, just hope that goes as smoothly as possible, because it hasn't really been the easiest, has it, for Viv recently. Next up, on a completely different tack, the Young Lionesses have got their semi-final against Spain tomorrow in the Under-17s Women's World Cup. And we wish them the best of luck, because they've been doing so incredibly well. And I think it's the first time since was it 2008, 2009? They've reached the semi-final stage. I did read it the other day, and the year has escaped me, so I do apologize. But first time in a long time anyway. So again, we wish them the best of luck. So all the luck to start with. We then got the news a couple of hours ago that a new 5-year deal has been struck between Sky Sports and the BBC to broadcast the Barclays Women's Super League and possibly the Championship, with more live games to be shown across both channels. Sky have also got the opportunity to broadcast the Championship and League Cup matches for the first time. Paul, what did you think about this when you heard it?
I worry because I am old enough to remember football before 1992. Only slightly, I might point out, before anybody starts calling me an old codger or anything, but I am just about old enough to remember before 1992 and Sky piling in. And Emma in the chat, again, pretty much makes my point. Making women's football more inaccessible for people who don't have Sky. Because, you know, Sky is expensive. Like, I think we pay for it because me and my partner watch the NFL and the Premier League and everything else. And even through one of the other streaming services, it's something like 30 quid a month, you know, which works out at about 6-7 quid a game to watch on TV, which is practically the price of a ticket at some grounds.
And it's make sure you get your money's worth as well.
And you have the issues where TV rules everything, so matches will get moved around, and you'll have Chelsea will never have. I confidently predict next season Chelsea will not have a 2:00 Sunday kickoff throughout the whole season. They will not play one game at 2:00 on a Sunday because there will be on TV every week, bar maybe one. Because this week they've been on TV every week until week 9, and that ironically is when they're playing Brighton, which would be a good game.
Which would have been a really good game, yeah. Emma's just said that everyone's just going to be moved to 6:45 on a Sunday night, yeah, or even Friday night because they love a night under the lights, don't they? Sky game, but again for travel and fans, that's going to be fun. Sophie, on the other hand, saying there, very happy because quality production so much better on Sky because of all the investment that they've put in. I think it's going to total over, is it 100 million with all the production costs and things like that, and therefore makes it justifiable paying out that money as well.
Sky,
but again, it's on priorities, isn't it? And what you
like you say, I don't think Sky will care about 50-60% of the WSL, never mind the Championship. They've made that obvious with the games they pick.
So would you like some stats? Because I've got a friend of the pod, Tom Gary, I've got his article up here. So The Guardian understands the rights fee is worth approximately 65 million. So that's just the rights across the 5 seasons, plus all the production costs on top of that, taking the broadcaster's total investment in the women's game to comfortably over £100 million. Sky Sports are understood to be contributing to the vast majority of that investment, and in return, they have been given up to 118 live WSL matches per season. How does
that even? 118 live WSL matches per season.
Yeah, I mean that's impressive. That's what they're paying for. The ones that don't exist.
There's only 22 league games a weekend. There's 22 weekends times 5. Hold on, I've got to work this out now. Chloe might be better at the maths than me because maths is famous.
Previous for every single match. I think it was like 130 plus matches.
Yeah, so they've been given 118 of them, 78 of which will be exclusive to Sky, and the commercial broadcaster will also have 75% of the first choice picks. Okay, so Chelsea every week.
Right, so that is, I've worked out
that
a weekend, like there were only 132 matches. In in the season. If you go 22 games times 6 matches, 22 weekends times 6 matches is 132 games. So Sky have 118 of those.
Yes.
So is that Sky committed to show 118 of those, or is that they have the choice of 118 of those?
So they've been given up to 118, so that's their maximum they can show. The BBC, however, have committed to showing up to 21 matches per season live, 14 of which will be exclusive to BBC television, and the remaining 7 will be shared. Okay. Any matches not selected for live television broadcast will be shown live on YouTube. So
are Sky just going to show every game then? Because are they going to do like they do with the men's championship now, where you basically on the Sky channels can access pretty much every game of the championship, but only one of them actually has any commentary and presentation on it, and the rest of it is just a single camera, pulled a bloke off the street who doesn't know what he's talking about half the time about the championship. Never mind what's going to happen with the WSL.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm probably pouring cold water over this, aren't I?
It's when you look at the details, like the bigger picture sounds brilliant, like over 100 million investment. But then it comes down to, well, what's actually going to be on, how we're going to access it, what we're going to do. Now, I've got more. So they'll be on YouTube. As part of an expansion of the new partnership agreed with the streaming platform this summer, it means fans will be able to watch all 132 games in a WSL season live either on television or online. So all matches should be able to be streamed live. Should. Which, again, in theory, fantastic. But again, how's it going to
I can confidently predict what will happen. Sky will take 118 of them, stick 90 of them or so on a subscription channel, like a pay TV channel.
Yeah.
With 1 or 2 games a weekend on the main Sky Sports channel, which is still a subscription channel, but more people still have to pay for them. And then and now WSL fans will basically have to go, right, okay, you have to pay out for Sky if you want to watch Chelsea, basically. You have to pay out for Sky, probably if you want to watch Arsenal, pretty much. And now, if you support the other 12 WSL teams, you have to pay out for the original Sky and Sky Sports Plus, because it ain't going to be on YouTube.
No, and it's because it's a showcase that they do some of the matches on as well. So you don't have, it's not on the actual like pay for sports channel. So maybe they do it that. So it's like a double. But again, it's still the Sky subscription, isn't it? That you're gonna have to fork out for that one. Let's keep going. So it's also understood that there'll be a large increase in the number of women's championship matches that will be broadcast live on YouTube from next season. Although the BBC won't be showing any championship games, Sky do also have the option to broadcast the matches live if they choose to do so. Now, what's the odds that they're actually going to do so?
Well, you basically got to hope Arsenal, Chelsea, or Manchester City get relegated. That's how you're going to get. That's how you're going to get championship games. Yeah,
or they're going to play the Newcastle, London City, maybe if they get to a cup. I have no idea.
Newcastle, Sunderland,
they might play the odd derby game.
Yeah, just as like a hey, we care about the championship. But yeah, it's a hard one. The rights deal is the first long-term broadcast deal negotiated by the WPLL. Yes. Nikki Doucette says, agreeing the next cycle of broadcast rights was a priority for us, and we are very fortunate to have 2 premium broadcast partners in Sky and the BBC who believe in the future and value of women's football as much as we do.
They believe in it as much as they can make money out of it. If people stop going to games, Sky will disappear like a fart in the wind. Like
a fart in the wind. Welcome everyone to award-nominated football podcast. Yeah, it's yeah. Again, in theory, it's going to be good. This was interesting. Additionally, as part of the new deal, in a new development, players will be given digital rights to show their own highlights clips on their social media channels. So what do we think about that? Chloe, what do you think about that one? That the players have got more rights now to share their content of themselves.
Yeah, that's definitely good for them. I remember before sort of putting highlights sort of packages together on YouTube, and they used to be sort of claimed by the league, but they took the money, not that I was making any money from it, but still allowed them sort of to be on YouTube. But yeah, good for players being able to share the highlights.
Yeah, because you'd think kind of like, oh, well, that's a clip of me playing. Surely that's okay. I can share this, but no. So yeah, so at least the players are getting something back, and they're being represented with that. So yeah, so that is all we've got on that new deal at the moment.
I guess my cynical thing. This is Sam. Pay attention. This is your clippable bit. If you need a clippable bit,
yeah, I'm ready.
To sum up my ranting, basically, if you don't remember what Sky did to the Premier League, and you are either unaware or aren't of the opinion that Sky getting involved in football, whilst it now brought us to where we are today with men's football in terms of the quality, it also brought us to where we are now in terms of the cost and the exclusivity of it. Now, women's football is making the same mistakes. And that's what worries me about the whole thing. It's all great, and you can sell it as great, and everyone can watch it, but how many people really will? Especially when we've had the budget today, and we've had all talk of more financial issues for everybody, and raises in taxes and all sorts of things. First thing that's going to go is stuff like Sky for people.
Yeah, because it's to have a package like that is very much a luxury, isn't it? To be able to afford it, because it's crazy money now. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you've got to add on to just have one package, and then because I've just got the football, not the sport. But even still, it's a ridiculous amount of money. And we even had a chat about it, been like, right, is this worth it? Like, are we watching enough? Luckily I do to justify it, but yeah, if you just want it for the odd game, you're not going to grow it for kind of the casual fan, are you? Because if they don't already have it for other sport or anything like that, they're certainly not going to fork out that massive chunk to get that. So a lot of people will probably just end up watching the replays on, well, if the replays still do go up on YouTube, wherever the replays end up. So we will keep you updated. And as Matthew rightly said, women's football is meant to be for everyone, not just for the wealthy. Yeah, good. And I know Johnny's in Ireland used to cost me €115 a month just for the sports, which is just absolutely mad. And Sam breaking the tension, as always. Fart in the wind, Elton John's less impressive song. Right then, so from that new deal there, we've then got UEFA made their own announcement that they've announced their new women's football strategy, which they've called Unstoppable. I saw this on Instagram actually with Jill Scott's voiceover on the little video. Now, apparently, over a 6-year period between 2024 and 2030, €1 billion of competition revenues and UEFA investment will be committed into the game. So again, Paul, what did you make of this Unstoppable campaign when this briefly came out earlier? Don't know if you managed to have a little read through of any points or anything.
It's all lovely, but again, it's the timing of it. It's classic football governing body timing when you've got things like the Lionesses playing at Coventry, and 18 months ago in a comparable level game they sold it out, and this time round it was a third less full. You've got WSL attendances in the big stadiums dropping and clubs struggling to sell tickets. And UEFA coming out going, it's never been bigger. It's like, and part of me is like, have we already not peaked, but have we already had the golden moment where it could have been built upon and grown like that? If this had come out last year as a strategy, would have been incredible, because it would have been riding the wave of the most successful Women's World Cup ever. And you know, we saw the effect that the Lionesses had in those 2 years. We saw the effect that the Matildas had in Australia. We've seen the effect that the German team have had. We've seen the effect the US team have had. But now, again, I think it's a year too late almost. It's almost like it's reactive. It's like if you wanted to grow the game, you'd have done this a year ago. You'd have seen this after the Euros and gone, right, we're going to build on a World Cup year.
Well, that's exactly what the Lionesses wanted to do, didn't they? They wrote that letter straight away to be like, right, okay, let's change this, you know, this access for girls in schools. And to a certain extent, yeah, it's never been bigger because more people are talking about it. More people are, again, we could be slightly biased because we're in the women's football world, aren't we? But it feels like so much is going the right way. But a lot of it, you're right, people are starting to drop off. And we're going to talk about the Lionesses' performances in a minute. But again, for the casual fan who maybe doesn't come from a club environment, if you just want that win, all like we're all laughing because we're just saying Kerry's comment there. If you don't come from that club environment where you stick through thin and thin, you're going to think, oh, well, if they're not winning and they're playing a bit of rubbish, oh, well. And then you maybe won't come back for a couple of months. And it's that trying to combat that, isn't it? But yeah, Kerry, no worries about the cat. We love Nancy. We love everything that she has to say.
Yeah, you've been officially told, because I'll relay, because I've got my earphones in, so she can't hear. You've been officially told no worries about the cat, but it's much appreciated.
She also had lots of opinions about the medium of need.
She has. She's as much Team Chaos as anyone else. She is.
Oh no, Nancy is leader of Team Chaos. That's Nancy tells us what to do at this point. So yeah, it's again getting that right balance, and hopefully this money that's gonna go into it is again going to change things and make it a landscape that people can access. I was talking to the parents of one of my pupils, and they said that their daughter, she's how old is she now? Year 7, year 8, so what, 11, 12, and she plays for a football team outside of school, but schools still won't let the girls play football. So she's got no choice to play in school, but luckily she's got one outside. And it's like the amount of children that maybe don't have access to a club outside as well, school's like your one place to do it. So that really got me. I was like, how is it still? It's 2024. Like how, and I don't know, maybe it's because it's a secondary school, but surely they should have that provision for a girls' team if they don't want them on a mixed team.
And but also, yeah. I agree, but also I see in the chat people are talking about the Ballon d'Or.
Hey, we're going to talk about it. Don't worry.
Prepare yourselves is all I'm saying. I have more opinions than Nancy about the Ballon d'Or, and none of them are good. But I think you've hit the nail on the head. I mean, I don't know what it's like in your parts of the world with regards to girls' football teams or whatever. But if you ask me where the girls' football teams were in Coventry, okay, I will change and say female football teams because
Yep.
I've been pulled up upon it. Kerry is very hot on inclusive language and such things, and has pulled me up on it. And female football teams in general in Coventry, I couldn't tell you any. Like there are, because there's Camden Court and there is Coventry Sphinx ladies who both play at a low level, and there used to be. Where else?
Coventrins or something like that.
Oh, there might be. I mean, they used to be a championship team until some Wolverhampton git took them away to rugby. But that's and this is the trouble as well. I think there's no pathway. If you're a girl wanting to play football in a lot of big cities, because all the attention is on a few teams in the WSL. You know, if you're a young girl and you're playing, to use Chloe's amazing shirt as inspiration, if you're playing on the South Coast, right, and you want to play in the WSL, the nearest option is Brighton at the moment.
Also, Southampton, Portsmouth. You muted.
But still quite far away though. Like Brighton to Portsmouth, then up to Southampton. It's quite a distance. Oh.
Sorry, that was Nancy. Nancy trod on the mic and muted it. Like,
Nancy's like, we don't need to hear this right now. No.
You just see a tail sticking in front of the camera. But if you're on the South Coast and you look for a platform to pay for, Brighton are too busy recruiting, up in South London almost a lot of the time with academies. And Southampton have a whole bunch of local players at the moment, but as big business gets bigger, there you go. That's along with games were decided by a goal. That's my version of that one. There's no pathway. All of this money is all very well, but it doesn't lead anywhere. It doesn't feed girls to be able to play after a certain point. It doesn't feed dreams, if you like.
Yeah, because Farah was saying, I don't know if you saw the latest Brusha and Shaban one, the kickback. Farah was saying, years ago, all of the academies used to be more in cities, and, for the boys, they used to send a car to go get them and all of these things. And because the money's not in the women's game, you're not getting access to those children. They can't get into the academies. They physically can't get there. And until there's investment at that level, you're then not going to see that impact. And the fact that it's, again, still not really happening. It might be in some places, don't get us wrong, but yeah, for the most part, it still doesn't really seem to be happening. So fingers crossed this new development can change. I don't want to say we won't hold out too much hope, because that sounds very cynical, but yeah, we've seen promises kind of before, haven't we? And we've seen things talked about. So watch this space, and hopefully this €1 billion is gonna go to some good use. Now, lots of people in the chat talking about the Ballon d'Or. Don't worry, it's up next. So last year it was a complete tick box exercise, quite offensive in most cases as well. Does anyone actually watch the ceremony this year? I didn't. No, it wasn't really made a big thing, was it? Like, it wasn't really like live stream it here like it was last year. It was a bit bizarre. So yeah, Ballon d'Or, rumoured that Bon Mati was going to get the double, which she did. But of course, it's happening again during the women's international break. And Lucy Bronze, on an interview, even asked, is anyone listening after the protest from last year? Now, previous double Ballon d'Or winner Alexia Putellas finished in 10th this year. And even Serena Wiegmann said, it's really disappointing because it's a moment to celebrate women's football. You want to be there, but we've got a job to do, so we've got to be here. It would be helpful if we were there. Now, Ian Wright also interestingly said, clearly the people voting aren't watching women's football. So yeah, Chloe, I'll come to you first. Any thoughts on the Ballon d'Or? Anyone else who maybe should have been higher up or maybe should have been mentioned that didn't get a mention? Any thoughts there? And again, in the chat, get your thoughts down as well.
yeah, I think there's sort of plenty of debate about who could be sort of higher and that. I've not really had sort of time to look through that. But with the timing of it, with the time of the ceremony, it's happened for years. It always seems to be during the international break for women. So there's no real sort of, they're not really able to get to it, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. I think that needs to be sorted out.
Because because a lot of people have come out and said, look, it's going to clash with something. Why has it got to be kind of the women's international break? So even if it was, I don't know, people's games move midweek and it was one weekend, possibly, that could make, I don't know. But something has to be done. Yeah, Matthew's just put, people don't take it seriously if they allowed content creators and all people like that to attend. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We've even got, Uncle Montana, what a fantastic name. No one watches it, even all the people who spent 5 hours bantering about Vinicius and Rodri watch the thing. They watch the clips afterwards. Yeah, absolutely. It's content though, isn't it? If someone clips it up and goes, watch this 10 seconds, you're going to watch that rather than a whole however many hours the ceremony was. Paul, how about you? Thoughts or rants, should I say? Thoughts or rants? Your choice.
Well, the first bit is people forget. Well, people don't forget, but people, when you actually read what the Ballon d'Or is, it's presented as, this elite award in women's football. It's not. It's bollocks. It's the choice of one magazine office. So basically, it's a load of French football journalists, most of whom probably don't watch the women's game, sat around in the office one Friday afternoon going, I guess we better decide the Ballon d'Or now, lads. Who do we fancy this year? Just pick 50 players.
Yeah, who've we heard of? Yeah.
And then you have the voting, which is a farce, because it's usually one football journalist. From what I can gather, it's judge selected, and they say it's players, it's people within the game, it's journalists, and the people who actually get to vote on the winners are the journalists of France Football and L'Equipe, and one of the best jurors from last year. And this is the equivalent of getting the football department of the Sun to pick the men's player of the year. That's basically what it is. It's
nothing against the Sun, of course.
And you have people voting for it. I mean, the level of coverage of it. The BBC didn't even realise Aitana was at the ceremony. Like, genuinely, there was. The BBC were doing live coverage of the ceremony, talking about it.
Yeah.
And when Aitana received her award, do we refer to her, by the way, as just Aitana, or do we use her full name? Because this is something I wonder, because it used to be Bon Mati, but now it's like the Spanish thing of using.
Well, Aitana's on our shirt, so yeah, Aitana.
But the BBC, actually, give me half a second. I'm less prepared than Rosie, but I know what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Get some hastily scribbled notes under a candle.
The BBC site actually said, contrary to what we said earlier on, Aitana Bonmati is at the ceremony. She's just received her award. Apologies for that.
Could you imagine? Not even know she was there. They did a whole video, Barcelona, because the one thing I will say about Barcelona, sorry, Paul, is that the men's and women's team are very much together. They arrive together. Like they do everything as kind of, he is our club. He is our domination almost. And yeah, they did a massive video of like, look, all of our nominees are here and that kind of thing. So they knew they were there. Shame the BBC didn't pick up on it.
Well, again, it was proof that it's just them. It's there who the journalists have heard of. Because I'm sorry, Selma Paraduello, third in the Ballon d'Or. Behave. Absolutely behave.
She's good. Wouldn't put her third.
Watch watch football outside Europe, you knobheads. Like genuinely.
Yeah, it's true. I'm
tell you
just
what, it's
looking at who awards it. Yeah, what were we gonna say?
Yeah, I'll tell you what's a good award thing about sort of women's football. You know, Rich Laverty's sort of top 100 thing, where he gets different sort of journalists, players, and various people within the game to sort of vote on their best players. And yeah, that's one thing I quite sort of respect the ratings there. I think that's probably a better sort of judgment of best women's football.
Well, even the FIFA awards were better because at least it had a women's goalkeeper award. At least it had a women's goal of the year award. Whereas the Ballon d'Or, there's literally women's club of the year, isn't there? There's women's manager, women's coach, and then women's award. That's it. Whereas the men have got so many others. But let's not forget, a couple of years ago, really, that they didn't have a women's part, did they? It was all for the men.
It's like you say, there's a complete lack of awareness of a whole continent, and if you were being charitable, you'd say there were racial undertones because looking at players like Barbara Banda and Tabitha Shawinga not getting anywhere near the top 10 vote, even though
Barbara Banda was 12th. Tabitha Chewinga was 16th.
That's what I mean. Now, Tabitha Chewinga, I apologise, I pronounced the name wrong. Got my tongue titled then. Tabitha Chewinga, there we go.
There we go.
Giving her the respect of pronouncing a name properly, unlike half the Ballon d'Or. If you look at the criteria that the Ballon d'Or is supposedly awarded on, it's awarded on performance, it's awarded on impact, and it's impressive character,
class and fair play.
I mean, again, Rodri won the men's award. Sorry, I refuse to accept that the Ballon d'Or is awarded on fair play when bloody Rodri wins the men's award. Rodri's Spanish for shithouse. So that's that's all I'm saying about the men's.
There's my A-level Spanish out the window. I never knew that. So I've got the how they vote. So it's awarded based on 3 main criteria: individual performance, decisive and impressive character, even though that's 1, team performance and achievements, class and fair play is the 3rd, class and fair play. So the Ballon d'Or is awarded by an international jury of specialized journalists with 1 representative per country, from the top 100 in the latest FIFA rankings for men and the top 50 for women. Each jury selects 10 players in descending order of merit from a list of 30 established by the editorial staff of France Football, which is what you said, Paul. Members of the editorial staff of L'Equipe, the best jury from the previous edition, like you said, or South Africa for the women's Ballon d'Or, and UEFA ambassadors Louis Figo for the men's trophy and Nadine Kessler for the women's. They are then awarded points from 15 to 1 respectively, and then it's the player with the highest number of points.
There was a very good article on The Athletic, actually, from Steph Yang, who's a very good North American women's journalist, who was I believe, American juror. And she actually wrote an article about what it's like to vote for the Ballon d'Or Féminin. And you look at it, and it's an absolute popularity contest. It's basically, we get sent this list of players that a bunch of middle-aged journalists smoking fags on a Friday afternoon have decided that they fancy for the award. Honest, not just going. That was awkward. Although, given some of the nominees, it might as well be who they fancied. And then apparently it's just there's a little portal, and you go. There's a drop-down menu, and you go, here are my 10 players, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
Who you fancy. And she wrote, you know, I did my best. I created spreadsheets and stuff and all that sort of thing. Nobody's doing that. Sorry, nobody cares enough to write spreadsheets to compare a goalie, and because she made the valid point, you can't compare a WSL goalie with an NWSL striker objectively and say which one's better.
Absolutely,
which one's more deserving of an award.
No, because you can't physically, like I said, compare. No.
And you know, it was all very well, and it was impressive, but it seemed like a look how much I care about this article. And realistically, does anybody give a shit about the Ballon d'Or?
It doesn't mean anything in women's football. It literally means nothing. As Graham Wright says, Eurovision is judged better. I agree. I think the Eurovision judges and the Ballon d'Or judges should get together and share some tips. At least make it a bit more glitzy and glamorous, wouldn't it? If if that had happened. But yeah, so top 10. Aitana, Caroline Graham Hansen, I think should have won it, but that's a different story. Third, Salma Paraluelo, like Paul said. Sophia Smith was fourth. Lindsay Horan, fifth. Mallory Swanson, sixth. Marie Antoinette Catoto was seventh. Caldente was eighth. Trinity Rodman was ninth. And Puteas was 10th. And like we said, English players were Lauren James was 13th. Lucy Bronze was 20th. Yui Hasegawa was 26th. And Lauren Hemp was 28th. Like, people definitely aren't ranking this.
I mean, Lindsay Horan was fifth. Given she's Republican, did someone do some ballot stuffing? Like, because she's
topical because the vote's on.
She's there. You go. She's a decent player, but she's a horrible human being. And also, she's not the fifth best player in the world. If she's the fifth best player in the world, then I'm the fifth most likely to date Scarlett Johansson. It ain't bloody happening, you know. It's
Scarlett Johansson. That's what it came to. Interesting. Okay. Now I love how I'm talking about the political voting in Eurovision now. Yeah, but that was offended by her on at 5 for what? Hey, well, it depends. Is it then for national team as well? Because she kind of stepped up during the Olympics, blah blah blah. But yeah, half the fun of Eurovision is the political voting game, which really is it happening again? Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, some interesting names in the mix there. But yeah, still pretty much a tick box exercise and nothing really meaningful. But yeah, so they could start putting in, not on the women's international break. That'd be fantastic. And when they do, then we can actually start saying, they do care about women's football. Okay, good. Instead of last year when they completely missed out. Who was performing again? And they just completely missed out all the women's footballers, thinking they were just like the wives and the girlfriends. Can't remember his name. But yeah, giving high fives all along and then being like, nah, you're not important. Not doing it. So yeah, one day we shall not rant.
Apart from that, it's worth the Ballon d'Or.
It's a lovely trophy. Lovely doorstop. Now, I've got a rant of my own that I would like to start us off International Football Week with. I know, Paul, when you tweeted earlier about your rants that you were ready to go, I'd like to start off on. How do you expect the women's game to grow when you play the under-23s 60 miles away from the senior team on the same night with a 5:30 kickoff, so you can't even do both of them? What is happening? Who planned that? Why did the FA do it? The most people who will go to the under-23s will be the ones going to the Lionesses. Like, people shouldn't have to choose between supporting the youth groups and supporting the seniors. And that really annoyed me, to be honest, because how they expect people to do that. But I will say, Michelle Adjman, got the winner in the 86 minutes. So it was worth it. But yeah, how do we all feel about that poor scheduling? Paul, I know you mentioned it earlier. So have you any thoughts on that one?
Which is the sketch? Well, just there's an apathy about it in general. Like, why would you put the future of the England team, like you say, you're basically splitting a crowd.
Yeah, you're pitting them against each other. Like, all right, choose. You know, who you gonna go see?
Why can't you play the under-23s on a Monday night? Why do they have to play on the same night?
Different.
Because traditionally you have, I don't know whether it happens quite so much now, but I always remember traditionally on men's international breaks, you had the under-21s playing on the Tuesday night, and then you had the Wednesday night was the senior internationals.
Yeah.
And now
even the difference of the night would have made so much difference. And I know loads of people have been talking about it. Even Johnny said there should have done a double header. Yeah, like the women's and the men's do at club. Put them on a bit earlier. They get the stadium. They get the crowd. Like, it just maybe trial it, see if it works, but definitely don't put them on the same night.
You probably have to do it on a weekend though. Then you probably only have to play weekend games because, sorry, you know, nobody is turning up in Coventry at 4 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon to watch the under-23s because everyone's still at work.
Yeah, no. So then it would be, if that'll be a weekend thing, it wouldn't be a Tuesday night thing. Yeah, absolutely.
So you'd have to do it on either a Friday night so people could get the time off, or you'd do it on a Sunday. And then Wednesdays and Sundays, that'd work. And you have the under-23 game play on a Sunday.
Yeah, that would work. Perfect. Right, Effie, we'll just sort out your scheduling issues. So if you'd like to get in touch, we'll take our thanks for that one. We will just say as well, Chloe Lacasse has done an ACL and MCL. So
she's no longer flying down the wing.
Such a blow. Oh, Paul.
Not for 18 months anyway.
Or if you Jill Road, 7.
Yeah, if you're Jill Road and you've got a voodoo thing going on or something, there's a voodoo pit under the Joy Stadium, and they've just Jill Road down there with, you know, Void and the great old ones making sacrifices and stuff, and God knows what. Maybe not. Just for confirmation, I'm not saying there is an occult like portal underneath. I'm not saying there's an occult portal underneath Manchester City Stadium.
He is absolutely saying that.
It might explain how they avoided 115 charges.
Yeah. That's it. Maybe that's where it's gone. But yeah, that came from the official DAZN women's football page. Apparently, it was after the match with Utah Royals on the 20th of October. And she's already undergone surgery, so it's already on its way to healing for her. And yeah, just fingers crossed, it's a speedy recovery. With that one, now
Women's Surgery League.
Women's Surgery League. You know what, Sean? It does at this point, mate. It absolutely does. But again, it's awful. It's absolutely awful. Just wish it would stop happening. For that one. Right then. So yes, that was my little rant. But the under-23s are doing very well. They drew with the Netherlands 1-1 last time because they flew to the Netherlands, and then got the 1-0 win this time round as well. So shall we finally do it? Shall we talk some England, Germany? Now, this was at Wembley, wasn't it? And according to, again, Tom Gary, friend of the pod, he said attendance was 47,967. And he also compared it to, it's just 2,500 more than the fans who attended a friendly between England and Germany at Wembley a decade ago in November 2014. Some were quick to point out that game was on Friday and the other one was on a Saturday, so it can't be a true comparison. But yeah, we've kind of talked about drop-offs in attendance. But that's that's quite a big drop off from a sellout Wembley to half-ish capacity. Chloe, have you felt, I don't know, have you felt a change with fans in the Lionesses and people actually wanting to go to matches, or do we think it's more of a cost of living thing rather than anything about football?
I think probably a bit of both, because it's obviously going to Wembley. If you're not in London, then it costs a lot to sort of get to London on train and then staying in a hotel. And there's so much more sort of cost that goes into it if you're coming outside of London. So you've got to be sort of wanting to go to it, and then obviously work, and there's so many sort of things to consider really with that sort of thing. But also I think obviously after the Euros we had the hype and people are like, oh yeah, okay, let's go and watch them, and then sort of the hype dies off. You can't just sort of rely on people but like, oh yeah, they're playing, whatever, you know. You've got to actually push it out there a bit more to get people to go, if they can go, if they can afford to go.
It's hard. And again, in the chat, what are your thoughts about the Lionesses? But yeah, Paul, any thoughts from you? Different to what you said earlier. Or
I think that the main issue with it is people don't care enough now, right? And it's almost too hyped, because how long have they been hyping the Germany game for? Months. Since my brain wants to say like July, or
yeah, they've definitely spoken more about the Germany USA matches rather than the South Africa Switzerland ones, haven't they?
I mean, you'd be forgiven for not knowing the Coventry game was on in Coventry, never mind anywhere else, because there was no real mention of it on the local BBC media, really, at all. There was no, there was no exterior advertising at Sky Blues games or on the CBS Arena.
Oh, really?
Nothing, no, come and watch your Lionesses. None of that. So if you were driving past the CBS Arena, you'd never have known it was hosting the current European champions. Because it's only South Africa, and it feels like it was almost a bit of a. We're now at the point where the FA wish they could have all the games at Wembley, but still feel like they kind of need to pretend that women's football is still for everyone all over the place. So they're going, oh, let's arrange a few games that we'll probably easily win, and just chuck them. Just chuck it in Coventry or chuck it in the Northeast or chuck it wherever. I mean, at least when they moved the games for the Nations League qualifying around, the opponents travelling to places like St James's Park and the Stadium alike were, games you'd want to go and watch.
Yeah.
Games the casual fan will want to go and watch. Games that have name recognition, France, Scotland. People are going to go, oh,
I had a bit of that excitement and that bit of like preemptive knowledge about it.
Nobody cares about South Africa in England. They are ranked 50th in the world. It's the equivalent of England men going, oh, we're going to move away from Wembley to play Albania. People go, great.
Yeah, because we hardly ever play African teams, do we? So it's, great tactically in the game. We'll talk about the match in a minute, but yeah, for the casual fan, like you said, it's not one that you go, yeah, Tuesday night, I know where I'm going to be going. People local go. I know loads of the Villa fan club went, because again, it's just down the road, isn't it? But yeah, if you're traveling midweek, you've got work to think about, family to think about, like all these things. You're like, do I know much about South Africa? Do I, is it enough of a pull to make me want to go? Which is really sad. Because again, the marketing was hardly non-existent, like you said.
And also, it's expected now that at these games, people are like, we're not going to get the Lionesses, are we, Nancy? There you go.
She's like, I'm still here. Don't worry.
We're not.
I can tell you how to stop her doing that.
We're not going to get. She has her blanket here, and she has to cross it. So I apologise. There's the award-winning podcast brought to a pause because of a very noisy cat. But she's now on a blanket. But like, I think you have a situation where now people don't want to go to watch England. They want to go to watch certain players. And
it's very much I want to meet Lucy Bronze. What time do I need to get there to see the bus? And it's like, no. No, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it.
At Wembley, people will know it's probably going to be all the stars. And that sounds horrible to say to the players who were rotated in for South Africa, but your casual fan isn't turning up to see Grace Clinton. Your casual fan isn't turning up to see Jess Naz. Your casual fan isn't turning up to see probably now Mary Earps because she's dropped below the radar and she's in Paris and she plays in France, so she's not constantly saturating the media. So people are like, I've almost forgotten about it. Your casual fan will have forgotten about it.
Just on that really quickly, if anyone's in the WSL Facebook group, which is hilarious because everyone bitches at each other and starts drama for nothing, it's hilarious to sit and watch. Someone put something, was it a Lionesses page? I don't know. Someone was like, I think Mary should be in goal, and someone went, Mary who? And it was like, and everyone was like, Mary Earps, and they were like, I don't know who that is.
Oh god, I will say I met Mary Earps back in 2019, I think, when England played Spain here. She was lovely. Because we sort of got into banter online, and he's like, and I said, "Oh, that was me." She was like, "Oh, it's you? Oh no!" And then she's probably lovely.
Sorry, you got into banter online with Mary Earp. She just casually dropped that into the conversation.
Yeah. Well, because when she was at Wolfsburg, she had these gifts, and she just hated them. So I just kept tweeting them and sort of tagging her, and she was like, "No." Yeah, so she took it well. Yeah.
So you got to meet Mary Earps through trolling her.
I wouldn't say trolling, but
let's not have that as a message for the people who were going to the matches.
I was going to say, can I just say, I'm not criticising you here. I respect that. As someone who loves the odd bit of banter and stoking the fire occasionally, and respects the slightly more barbed side of such things, I absolutely respect that.
She can take a joke quite well.
I was going to say, we always know where that banter line is, don't we? And we don't cross it. We don't go too far. But on a similar note, Sophie just put, I was sat behind some United fans 2 years ago, aggressively screaming for Tooney and Russo, but didn't know Earps' name.
Oh, for goodness sake.
And that's the thing. People are going for the players, not the football. And I think that's impacted the atmosphere. I've said it before. Like, I'm not going to go out my way, really, to see a Lionesses match because of the atmosphere now, unless it's a team that I really want to go and see, which again is really sad. So I used to love going, but it's just not. It's not unless I go, because my friend is in with like the Bring the Noise section, so I think that's where I'm going to have to go in future, kind of, because I love that club feeling, like that proper football feeling. So
are you actually allowed to heckle at Lionesses games? Are you?
In that section, you are.
You're allowed to even make mild jokes about Sophia Smith being one-footed or something, like, or that Nike advert, which I don't know why Sophia Smith doesn't get reminded about that every single time she plays anywhere.
No.
No
choice, that wasn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, I actually think we are now at the point where the atmosphere at women's games is a problem that keeps people away.
There's a fine line between certain clubs that you see.
Because you've talked about it at certain clubs reacting to the kind of stuff that wouldn't even be considered banter at a men's game. And like, sorry, if you at this point there should almost be a pushback against it the other way, and no, we're going to make women's games as hostile as possible. Because
you think it's easy to come here, we'll show you.
We'll make it as hostile as possible within the boundaries of, and there's this weird feeling that if you allow what do we think of Tottenham chance, for example, that 30 seconds later you're going to have a bunch of shaven-headed thugs with England flags tattooed on them streaming onto the pitch, hurling racist abuse at Lauren James or anything like that, because apparently
just set Sam Kerr on them.
Yeah, but it's
well, she's saying that her and Millie together.
it's this ridiculous panic that if we allow women's fans to even chant something that is a fixture of the men's game and is chanted by kids and grannies and everybody in between, at their first game, if you're an Arsenal fan, you go to a Spurs game and the first thing you get told is, right, this is the chant we sing at Tottenham. It's like if you're a Sky Blues fan, you still get told at your first game, right, at some point you're going to sing shit on the Villa, even though we haven't played them in 20 years or whatever, or you're going to get told, you're going to get sung offensive things about Leicester and their family dynamics, and it's like this happens and nobody dies. Like,
it's part of the game, it's part of the banter, it's part of, like, you do have beef with certain clubs, and that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as, like, I think we said last week, didn't we? As long as it's not misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic, as long as it's not anything that can actually hurt someone, it's banter. Like, there's a line, and again, some people do cross it because some people always take it too far. But the majority, it's just taking the mick a little bit.
If I want to go to an England game and shout at Sophia Smith, "Oh, you're overrated," and then she cracks in a 25-yarder and comes running towards me and flicks the finger at me, fair enough.
You've earned it.
I've earned it. But I've earned it, and I haven't. And I've had my little shout at a player who is better, has more football talent in her big toe than I will ever have. She's come back and gone, "Back in your box, you English twat," and job done. Like, everyone walks away happy, and no one remembers it the day after.
No, and it's absolutely fine.
Like, no Spurs fans are intimidated because an Arsenal fan at a women's game is shouting, "What do we think of Tottenham?" If they are, they need to take Leo Walter's advice and go out, touch grass, have a drink of water.
Take some fresh air. It is, people get too worked up, and loads of people make it so personal as well. And it's like, there's no need for that at all. And again, we've seen it over the last couple of days, haven't we? Last couple of matches, people blaming specific people for doing it wrong. And I think Serena said, I was reading, football is a game of mistakes. It's just who makes the least. And I was like,
I mean, my absolute favourite thing, the bit where I'm like, for Christ's sake, behave. Lionesses fans actually getting annoyed that the Germans were singing "Sweet Caroline" after winning.
I saw that.
Like, fucking behave.
Like, it's like, they do have that song in Germany. Like, it's not just an English song.
They're going to be outraged when they find out that most German teams sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" before games. Like,
exactly. Yeah. But Graham's got some sound advice. As long as the bassoons aren't too loud, everyone should just be chilled. So,
I mean, also bassoons are very useful for swinging at people complaining about banter.
watch the bassoon. Where? Oh, right.
Oh, really? You don't like me banter? How about I'll put your head in the cheap seats? Then we'll see. I'm not advocating this actually happening, by the way.
Just the imagery of that is just great.
Yeah, in fact, we'll re-edit the video to just do a disclaimer at the beginning. Anything Paul says should not be taken seriously.
Like,
It shall be clipped.
you know, you're not telling. Speaking of the power of banter, you're not telling me Georgia Stanway didn't score 2 goals against Germany, at least partly because otherwise she'd have had to go back on the Bayern coach. And she knew she'd have had 6 months on the Bayern coach with.
Well, that's what she said, didn't she? She went, right, I saw all my teammates scoring and thought, I'm not having that. And that's kind of, and you saw her head went down, didn't she? And she was like, no, I'm not letting this game get away. So let's actually talk about the game, shall we? So lineup, we were all kind of begging for change and that kind of thing. The only change was Hannah Hampton in goal. Now, it was a friendly, but of course it was Germany at Wembley, wanted to make an impact. Last time we met them was the Euros final, so a lot of things were waged on this one day. Now, judging how, and Paul's going to wax lyrically about Germany in a moment. Chloe, I'll just come to you for this one. Would a change have been better against Germany, knowing what we know now, because were we too easily found out? Or people have been talking about we need to change our shape, we need to change how we play because teams now know what to do. So yeah, what would you say would have been the best option for Germany, knowing what we know now?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a bit of
that first half. We'll just not really talk about it.
I mean, I'll be honest, it's a win-win for me because I was born in Germany, so I was like, I don't care what. Well, I care more about the Lionesses, but yeah, the defense. Oh my god.
Yeah, the defense. In fact, there was a good quote here. Hang on. England was described as falling apart, and they did, didn't they? But yeah,
in the door and just went, there you go through.
Hey, you want to go?
I think, whilst that wasn't good, I think it was necessary to have a game like that where you go, okay, this is a friendly. There's nothing on it. This isn't working. Okay, we can look to improve it sort of later on, maybe in the next match, or maybe sort of go away and sort of work more on it. I think after getting to win the Euros and then getting to the World Cup final, there's going to be a bit of a dip. It's like, oh look at what you've done, and then it's like, oh, I've got to go again. It's going to be a bit of a drop off. But yeah, there's people out there wanting us to win the Euros again, defend it, because obviously Germany's done that so many times. So yeah, I don't know, there just needs to be sort of more motivation there. But it's a friendly. We can learn from it. There's nothing riding on it at the moment. So hopefully going forward that'll get sorted out. Yeah,
I mean, Serena did say, these are the times that, if we're going to get anything wrong, it should be now rather than at the Euros. And this is the time that we need to learn. However, I mean, it was a game of two halves. So just in case anyone missed it, this is how it went down. England went 3-0 down within 30 minutes. And like I just said, England were described as falling apart in the opening half an hour. But we definitely can't take anything away from Germany. So, Paul, I'm going to come to you for this one. Julia Gwynn got the first 2 goals before Clara Buhl got the third. Now, for those people who maybe don't know Germany that well, why, how, what's changed since the last time we saw them? Because it's definitely, it's not the same Lionesses, but it's definitely not the same Germany since the Euros, is it? So yeah, have your moment. Wax lyrical about Germany.
I mean, Julia Gavin is incredible. Like, just if she signed in the WSL, then the team in question would have one of the best right backs in the world instantly. Like,
Yeah.
But the really scary thing about that German team is that German team probably wasn't what certainly most Lionesses fans would consider at full strength. It's a team still in transition because you've got players like Sarah Debritz, you've got Felicitas Rauch, you've got Sydney Lawman, all sitting on the bench. These are all players who, at the Euros, were considered, key players, if you like. Obviously, the biggest change is at the spearhead now because you didn't have Leah Schuler there, and Alex Pop obviously didn't play because she has said farewell in a very weird fashion after only like 12 minutes. And Nancy has strong opinions on that. Nancy is also a Germanophile. But you look at that German team. Clara Buhl is the player Beth Mead wishes she was at this point. In terms of that kind of attacking winger who can also play at number 9. She is an incredible player. And just both teams after the Euros could have gone in any directions. They were at crossroads. With England, of course, obviously they won the Euros, and then it was sugar, we're losing players like Ellen White, and we have to kind of adjust. If Ellen White was a couple of years younger, she'd still be being picked by someone.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Whether that's a good or a bad thing is another question.
Yeah.
Graham, that doesn't even work.
Terrible. Yes, it does.
The pronunciation doesn't even work, Graham. It's a good effort,
No, I think you've won comment of the night for that one.
I mean, it's a good effort. It's just my Germanophileness, like running around pronouncing.
Yeah, Graham, ignore Paul. That was wonderful. I appreciate that. But yes, Paul, continue.
I look at that, the way the two teams have gone since the Euros and definitely since the World Cup is they've completely gone in different directions because England are making the mistake that Germany made probably after 2022 and into 2023, which is, we're still good enough. We don't need to evolve. We don't need to bring in new players. We don't need to change anything. And the Germans, since 2023, have gone, right, we've got this really exciting young generation of players. Shall we use them? Yes, let's start using them. Sarah Debritz, for example, is an amazing player, but Sjurka Nuskin's better. Right now, Sjurka Nuskin is the player in form, so she gets picked. And there's none of this rubbish about players building up credit in the bank. If you're German and you ain't performing, you don't get picked in the squad.
It needs to be more ruthless, doesn't it? Yeah,
it is. It's absolutely ruthless, and we see it. And I think the Germans will be a force in Switzerland next year again. I don't think the Lionesses will be anywhere near as big a force at the moment, based on the current evidence we've got.
Yeah, I'd agree. Because the way Germany were playing, like the World Cup, like they weren't really themselves. And like you said, these past couple of months, maybe that was that transition of, right, this is new manager coming in, new people, new faces, how we're going to gel together. But now, like you said, they look like they could definitely challenge for what's coming up. And we've got their key phrases, especially from Emma Hayes, what got us here won't get us there. Absolutely. And people know that now. And England have got found out, and they do look stale and they look slow. And you've got to remember, they'll be shattered as well. Like, because Serena keeps playing the same people, they're not getting that rotation. They're not getting that rest. And as we do have bit more of an aging squad now. Not quite as much as Uncle Montana wants us to believe Lucy Bronze is. She's not 100. She was still the other night. She was one of the quickest on the pitch. At one point, she was the only person between the South African player and Mary Earp. So, yeah, I think something definitely needs to change. And Serena says she's working it out. And we've just got to go with her, haven't we? We've got to believe her. But yeah, we can't take anything away from Germany. Chloe, I'll come back to you for this one. So we talked about Georgia Stanway saying, right, I'm not having it. I'll get 2 goals back. A lot of people talking about the awful defence. We know that like people are criticising particular people. But Stanway actually put in a really good shift. Was there anyone else who impressed you that night, or their work rate? So we'll try and take some positives from that match against Germany. Did you have any?
I think
quicker.
it was more sort of the second half where it did seem to pick up a bit more, and I went, "Oh, this is not good. This is embarrassing. We need to pick it up." So, yeah, I think Georgia definitely, but I don't know. It was one of those nights where obviously it was terrible, and then just I think Leslie Russo was just not having a good night. It was one of those games where you're like, "Yep, okay, this is happening." Just what happens, and if it
And to draw a line under it,
yeah,
and move on. Yeah, it wasn't the best. Paul, does anyone have any highlight moments for you where you thought, right, the game overall is a bit crap, but were there any moments where you thought, there's a bit of hope here?
I don't know about that, but I am going to defend Leslie Russo slightly.
Dun dun dun. Right, clip this. 1 hour and 17. Yes.
And the bit I'm going to defend her on is the penalty for Germany's second penalty.
Yeah, I was going to come to this. So yes, let's talk about it. So that penalty decision.
There is no way she could have avoided contact there whatsoever. To claim that there was any intent whatsoever from her to foul the German player was ridiculous. Apart from that, she was rubbish. But there was.
It's another name in the mix for everyone that is rubbish. Well, because that allowed them to go 4-2 up, didn't it? Yeah. So Stanley got us back to 3-2, and then the pen against is it Volta?
Yeah,
Volta. Got her foot in the process, but as you said, there was no malice, there was nothing like that. But went for penalty and it was converted. Lucy Bronze, of course, always reliable with her head, was able to capitalise on a rare Anne Katrin Berger error, of course, because it slipped through her hands, didn't it? And it ended 4-3. So a bit of late drama. You thought maybe can they get an equaliser? Can they do something with it?
Being justified getting a draw out of that though. 4-3 flattered England.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But you just thought this game hasn't followed any kind of convention at all. Could a draw be possible, whether it was fair or not? Absolutely. But yeah, no. Yeah, Grace, but if all the bad there was, nothing will be as bad as VAR agreeing with the ref that it was a penalty. Yeah, I'm still undecided about VAR. Goal line technology, fine. VAR, cat's out of the bag. But yeah, just no. Some stats just for that one before we move on. 9 shots compared to Germany's 12. 4 on target compared to their 8. And we also had a further 4 off target as well. And total touches in the opposition box, 18 compared to Germany's 27. So as Paul rightly said, 4-3 was definitely flattering. And a draw definitely wouldn't have been fair, would it? Right. Any final thoughts on the Germany match before we move on?
Well, my I pointed it. There we go. Sorry, that's a massive finger. Sorry. There you go. Showing off my nails. Now I'm pointing. My final thoughts are summed up in the hashtag for this week, but we can talk about that because that was a theme throughout the.
Yes, the second match. Yes, absolutely. Now, just to break up the England talk slightly, of course, it was the international break. England weren't the only ones playing. There were also, yes, so the friendlies, but also the Euros qualifiers were still on as well. Now, 28 teams were taking part in round one, and they had round one, leg one, and leg two. And now we do have the winners who will now face each other in round two of this. So remember, these are still teams like the home nations, as well as Norway, Sweden, and Portugal. Okay, so still some fairly big names, as well as some I don't want to say lower names, that sounds really harsh, but just not as big. So leg one, I've got a little graphic for this, guys. Be wowed. Leg one looked a bit like this. So Wales, just focus on the home nations for these, hope you don't mind. So Wales actually suffered defeat away to Slovakia 2-1. Republic of Ireland 6-0 away to Georgia. So pretty clear, unless something went horribly wrong, and that they were probably going to get through to round two. Scotland, there was only one goal in it against Hungary. And Northern Ireland finished 1-1 with Croatia. That was leg one. Okay, so all to play for. Now, as we were stumbling against Republic of South Africa, this was happening. So Wales beat Slovakia 2-0 on the night, which means they go through an aggregate of 3-2. Republic of Ireland got another 3 on the night, so they happily go through 9-0. Sophie's rightly just said, don't call it a home nation. I do apologise. I just meant local to us. So I'll take it back. Home nations and Republic of Ireland. Scotland also 4-0 on the night. So aggregate 5-0 have gone through. And Northern Ireland got one through. And it was Wade, I believe. Let me have a look.
Can we also point out it was a certified Thunder Bastard? No one Wade's?
It was.
I think it counts as a certified Thunder Bastard.
Yeah, so this was Northern Ireland's 114th minute Lauren Wade goal. And we also have for Wales as well, Kerry Holland got the 112th minute winner. They were the only two that needed extra time, which added to Jess Fishlock's early strike, which saw them through as well. So that was leg two. So winners, we'll go on to round two. You'll all be happy to know. So this is how it stands for the final 7 places for the Euros. So we've got Portugal, Czechia. Portugal? I was trying to read them both at the same time. That's a good one, isn't it? Portugal, there we go, versus Czechia. Scotland, Finland, Ukraine, Belgium. Wales versus the Republic of Ireland. So one of those two will be making their debut at the Euros. Okay, so that's a really good one to watch there. Poland versus Austria, Northern Ireland versus Norway, and Serbia versus Sweden. Okay, so these are also 2-legged ties and will be played in the November-December window, where we are playing the USA and Switzerland. So there we go. And Johnny's in the chat. He's going to both legs. Taken out of context, that could sound very bizarre, but yes, in football, good. Johnny, you're going to have to keep us updated with that one.
Wales and the Republic of Ireland, presumably. Because he just said, I'm going to both legs. Which game? Like,
yes, Johnny is an Ireland fan. I mean, the others, that would be dedication to try and get to the others, both legs.
Let's just hope it turns out better for Poland than the last time an Austrian decided to travel to Poland.
You've got to take it there, haven't you? You've got to.
It's historical education, you know. Plus, Eva Pajor at the Euros. Eva Pajor is a player who needs to be seen more on the world stage.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, absolutely.
Big tournaments are the only way to do that, and you have the classic amazing player in the wrong country thing going on with Pajor. Well, not the wrong country. You have the amazing player in a country that doesn't perhaps allow her the visibility internationally that she deserves.
Because I know I was watching it Guro Reiten interview earlier, and that's what she said pretty much about Norway. Norway is such a small country. You've got such a small pool of players to pick from. Yes, there's some incredible players, but again, there's only a handful compared to other nations. So yeah, it's going to be incredible. So watch out for those, everyone. Right, we just had that. Yeah, Payot versus Zinsberger. I don't think there'd be much competition there, but that's fine. Depends if Manu does her best tree impression when she does it. Payot's got nothing to worry about. Right then, let's talk about the second England game, shall we? Now, this one, I'm getting too excited. This one seemed to go much, much better. Now, one of the interesting parts of the night was, of course, there were 8 changes to the starting lineup. Chloe, what did you think about this one? Were you happy that there were so many changes? Or did that hinder slightly, do you think, that there were so many changes?
Yeah, I think it was good to sort of have the changes. Just to see sort of what the other players could do and sort of give them a run out. And after sort of game against Germany, they could be like, okay, this is what we can do. This is what we bring to the team. And it was a bit better. It was a bit better in defence. Maybe not the best. Because South Africa did seem to find the spaces, really. Especially Tembi Gatlana, who scored for South Africa. No, it's a bit better. And yeah, it's good to see them, but I don't know, defence needs to be sorted out still. Yeah.
Paul, what were your thoughts on the starting lineup this time?
I think they were token changes, even 8 of them, because they were more to be seen for the sake of doing something. Because
there was a lot of pressure on it, wasn't there?
Because some of the players, like Beth Mead, stayed in, presumably to give her a chance to be noticed this international window because she wasn't against Germany.
Yeah.
And again, still, this is where I can rev up, because Aggie Beaver-Jones, what in the name of all worlds above, below, and in every other dimension that may or may not exist, does she have to do to start for England?
I have no idea.
Do we know? Does she have to, I don't know, play for Arsenal or something? Is that how it has to work? Does she need to dye her hair blonde? Like what does she need to do to start for England? Because
your guess is as good as mine.
Maybe she needs to get involved in the voodoo that's going on at City.
I mean, but she's. Do you reckon she just doesn't sit at the right lunch table? It's literally that level of Mean Girls going on at this point, because she has done absolutely everything possible. She's outscored Russo over the past 12 months. She is far more effective as an actual spearhead. You know, she has all the physical attributes of the kind of player you want as an international striker. She's one of the most exciting young talents in English football, bar none. And she can't even get any minutes against South Africa because they'd rather bring back Leslie Russo to play when 2-1 up in a, second-tier game, as it were, second-tier international game.
Well, that's the thing. And like you said, she's such a natural clinical finisher as well, isn't she? And the most in form, I'd probably say as well. And we've had that discussion previously, haven't we? Versus in form versus credit in the bank and minutes, and what if that actually stands for anything, because at the moment it doesn't, does it? But so my question to you was going to be, again, another game of 2 halves. We looked a bit more creative, a bit more threatening. 2-0, brilliant, fantastic, but lacking in that speed, weren't we? South Africa just completely had us on speed. But around 60 minutes, that's when the subs started, which Aggie Beaver Jones thing. Still baffling. So around the 60-minute mark, because we were allowed 6 subs for the match, which makes it even more infuriating. Now, this is where kind of the old favourites were starting to come on. Now, considering how iced Lucy's bronze knees are now becoming as a norm, give her a rest. She didn't need to play. She didn't need to come on. My Leticia was doing a decent job, wasn't she? She didn't need to come on, and that's coming from me. All right, that's coming from me. Lucy Bronze did not need to come on. But Tooney came on. Frank Herbert came on. Chloe, I know you're probably really happy about that one. And Russo came on for Jess Naz as well. So it was just very bizarre again that if Jess Naz was coming off, surely Aggie should have come on, right? Like that would make sense. That would make so much sense. Yeah, there's just no logic. And again, we can see everything in the chat. We feel the same. We do feel the same way. Now, next question was going to go to Rosie, but she's not here. So, Chloe, I'm going to have to come to you because I know you've got to pop off in a minute. We talked about Klatlana getting the goal for South Africa. Just kind of talk us through it. Did they actually deserve more from that match? Could they have got more from it?
Yeah, I think they could have got more from that because they didn't do what other teams sort of did and like, oh, Euros winners, they're amazing. We're just going to defend. They went for it. They really did go.
Well, nothing to lose, yeah.
Yeah, and there's some good players in that South Africa team. Also, we don't see as much of that because most of them do play in South Africa. There's a few that play sort of outside South Africa. Yeah, they gave a really good account of themselves, and they could have possibly even got a draw out of that maybe. But I think it's the finishing maybe let them down a bit.
Yeah, but they certainly had the speed, didn't they? And I know Emma's put in the chat, why was Mary so far off a line? She had to come out and do something. She couldn't just wait for it to come to her, could she? But yeah, Matthew said it's absolute travesty. Aggie's not getting any minutes. And yeah, Jess Naz deserved a starter, but Aggie did score 11 goals last season. Yeah, so again, should have probably been shared between them. But yeah, give Russo a rest. Give Lucy Bronze a rest. Like, they didn't. It wasn't a dire situation where they needed to come on. And again, it's a friendly. You know what? They didn't need to come on. Paul, how about you? Do you think South Africa should have got more from that?
I loved how South Africa, from watching it, I love how South Africa are doing your classic slightly smaller nation thing now of just taking on the big nations in the world and absolutely sending it. Like, we're going for this. We are absolutely rolling the dice and going for it.
Yeah.
And the speed, obviously we have to be careful talking about the physical attributes of African players, because there is a danger to focus that in the past when you talk about them, you focus on physical attributes.
People are focused on the wrong attributes, yeah, absolutely.
People focus on the wrong thing. But with this South African team, you can't not, because the way they played relied on their speed.
Yeah.
And they know what their strengths are and absolutely played to them. I mean, the goal. I mean, Leah Williamson's pass was probably nearer Villa Park than anywhere in the CBS Arena. It was that far offline. I don't know who she was trying to find, but it wasn't Georgia Stanway. Put it that way. But you still need a player who can seize on it, and she was absolutely gone. Tembi, like literally just bang, like a whip it out of the blocks, and just as soon as she was gone, you're sat there going, "This is trouble." Like them. It's one of the. There's not enough of those moments in football now because it's so tactical. There's not enough of those moments in football where a striker just breaks. and you get like a full-on breakaway one-on-one in on goal starting from 40, 45 yards out.
Mm.
That where the crowd's got enough time to actually stand up and kind of go, go on, or panic, depending on.
Yeah.
But like, Uncle Montana makes his point. Tony does, and I agree. If that had been a team top 20 in the world, the Lionesses would have lost by 4 or 5.
Yeah, if they just had that little bit extra, yeah.
That was
they had the chances,
level of performance. Yeah, that was the level of performance from again the English defence, which just looks disjointed. I don't know what's. We've asked the questions. What's going on with English defence? But we also have the debate that there are certain players in that England team who are defended and who are mollycoddled and who are almost untouchable. And one of them is Leah Williamson. Because whatever she's doing at the moment, it isn't what Leah Williamson at full force does. There is something fundamentally wrong with Leah Williamson at the moment.
It's hard, isn't it? Because we know what she's capable of. So I think despite current form, I think a lot of it is, but she's Leah Williamson. Look what she's done for us. Look at the performance. Look at everything. And there are certain players where we kind of do that with, don't we? I'm guilty of it as well. You kind of go, yeah, but look how good she was and look how good. But you've got to be realistic of the form at the moment. And really, is it good mentally for her to keep being put in these situations where she isn't firing on all cylinders, but neither are quite a few of the players? Now, could that be fatigue? Could it be injury? Could it be mentally? Are they not? We just want them to be okay. And we even talked about in a press conference before the first match, she didn't quite seem right. And you just think, is that then the manager's role to say, right, I know you're the captain, I know what you are capable of, but at the moment, is that actually the right choice? Is it the right choice? No.
From the other side of things, there is some of the discussion around Leah Williamson is just badly phrased. Like, it made my jaw drop when there was that question when Serena Wiegman was asked about minutes for players. And she talked about the infamous Chloe Kelly money in the credit in the bank question. But that clip, the weirdest thing about that clip is because it's 2 questions back to back. The second question, and this isn't quite word for word, but it's pretty close to word for word because it stuck with me. A journalist says, thanks, Serena, for that answer. Moving on, obviously, you've got some selection headaches and some selection issues. Is one of them the player sitting to your right? And it's like,
yeah,
you've sorry, but you've asked that question in front. Even as England captain, even for anyone who argues that she should be up to it and she should be scrutinised, being singled out like that in a press conference, that blatantly is something which I don't think is. I'm trying to remember that happening to a male England player, and I can't. Even at the World Cup, even when Harry Kane was getting criticised for not scoring goals, Gareth Southgate was never asked. So England have problems scoring goals. Is one of the problems the guy sat next to you? Like,
yeah, you just wouldn't, would you? It's almost as if there's different standards of what you can ask and what you can do. And yeah, I remember hearing that question, being like, "Oh, that's not on. That's not fair."
I mean, you're right in saying Harry Maguire has got stick. He's got vicious stick, but he hasn't. I don't think Harry Maguire ever got his place openly questioned while he was sat there in a press conference, like practically by name.
No, not a chance. Because what does that do for her confidence? She's sitting right there and people are openly saying it's about fair.
Yeah, and to give Leah credit, she has always come across as a player who is fully aware of the downside of her role as well as the upside of it, and is fully aware that if she, she'll trend on Twitter with everyone going, "Don't let her play" or whatever, if she has a slightly bad game, because she's captain of one of the most high pressure jobs in football. The England captain is one of the most high pressure jobs in football, bar none, whether it's for the men's or the women's team, especially when you're European champion. And this is where you have to ask the question: would it be kinder, almost, to say to her, "Look, Leah, you're not right here. Something. Where's the pastoral care for her?"
Well, that's the thing. Where's safeguarding?
Does she need to be protected from herself at this point? Because obviously she's always going to want to play, and she is very much aware of the responsibility. Does it need Serena or the England coaching staff to turn around and say, "Listen, Leah, you're not right here.
Sit this one out.
Sit out. It's only the Switzerland friendly. Sit that one out."
Yeah.
We'll put you in the squad for the England USA game, but maybe don't play.
Yeah, we're not abandoning you. You're still here in the environment, but
maybe you're not mentally ready to face Sophia Smith and Trinity Rodman right now, who are both going to want to prove a massive point. The USA at Wembley, maybe you're not ready to get cut to shreds by two of the best strikers in the world.
No,
because she will. The way she's playing at the moment, she will get annihilated. Sophia Smith, Trinity Rodman are going to be looking at the way Leah Williamson is currently playing, licking their lips. And going,
they won't be able to work, can they? And at the end of the day, football is a game. And we want everyone to be okay and to be looked after. And sometimes, as much as people might think, as we've been saying, "Oh, but she's Leah Williamson, she's captain." Yeah, and captains can deputise and they can take a step back. They don't have to always be 100% all the time, because any average person gets fatigue. Every social fatigue, mental fatigue, everything. That's a normal thing that comes with life. So to then have all the extra pressures of England captain and, putting on, because she's so good in front of the media and she's so good, she's always feels, like you said, she's completely in control and she's in charge and she's very aware of her negatives and positives and her whole kind of picture. But yeah, there's just something not quite right. And people are talking in the defensively, who else have we got? But it seems like for a couple of options, we don't have the options. Sophie's in there, Lucy Parker, Agbeaver Jones, and Anna Moorhouse, only 3 players not to get any minutes. You've said justice for Aggie. I should have had justice for Lucy, because if any game demanded a quick, physical defender, Lucy Parker was right there. Give her the chance. If anyone's watched her in the WSL, you should, if you haven't already. She should have had that chance to shine and show what she can do. It's the only one where, because she got injured on the last one, last England camp, this was her chance to shine, and she definitely could have done. And Sophie also just said there, play well first, goals come first. Unfortunately, it often doesn't. Yeah. So all we can say is that we wish and we hope that she is okay and that all of them are okay. And at the end of the day, it's for them. And hopefully they get looked after as they should.
On top of all of that, she should not be playing for England at the moment. No. On form alone, she shouldn't be playing for England. But if that form, as possibly seems to be the case, is not down to her just having a bad run of form, but there appears to be external issues because she said herself Arsenal fans turned on her because she turned around and actually dared to say, yeah, it's nice to get to the England camp and get away from, because it's been a turbulent couple of weeks. Yeah, she said where everyone's positive, and she obviously meant because it's been a turbulent couple of weeks.
Yeah,
you had everyone you had Arsenal fans piling on, going, "How dare she say that about Arsenal?" You had opposition fans piling on, trying to score points with "couldn't be my captain" and all that rubbish, and it's just like,
yeah, I saw that. That was ridiculous. And you just think, at the end of the day, everyone has their moments at work where I think, oh, I can't wait to get out of there. And there's just sometimes where that's the environment and that's okay. And you can say, oh, it's so nice to get out. It's so nice to have a change. And she's done exactly that. And I think a lot of the outrage is maybe coming from maybe younger fans, maybe a couple of old ones, but ones who don't really get it.
But that's the trouble. That's who women's football is aiming at. So you're only going to get more of those whose identities are irretrievably tucked up with their clubs, and who will give horrendous. Hannah Hampton. It's been mentioned in the chat by a few people. The abuse Hannah Hampton got.
Awful. Absolutely awful.
Really, it's a friendly.
She had to turn her comments off, didn't she?
It's not acceptable at any point, but it's particularly stupid in a friendly. Like if she's had a nightmarish game in a World Cup final, then yes, there are going to be idiots.
Yeah,
but it's a friendly.
And most of it. So I saw some people. Again, I don't want to say this as like re-spreading any hate or anything, but just to kind of put this down, people were saying she could have done better, and that what was it? It was something the way it was worded, and it was so ridiculous. It was. The penalties were the only thing she had to do, and she couldn't do that. And it's like, you're telling me the goalie just stands there for the rest of the game and doesn't do anything? Like, Hannah will organise that. Like, there are so many other attributes. Like, saving a penalty, I don't know if it's because, again, people are maybe tarred slightly because Mary Earps has made some very remarkable, memorable penalty saves. But the saves, like Emma says, they're 50-50. Like,
they're not even that. In studies, it's something like, they've done studies in other sports. In ice hockey, it's something like 60-40. You should be able to score a penalty shot because of the way they're taken. Because they're taking like how American football used to take, where you'd run from the halfway line and pull a move and whatever else.
Yeah.
But penalties in football as well, it's a shot from the center. When you think about what it is, it's a shot from the center of the box from 12 yards.
Yeah.
Unchallenged, with enough time to pick your spot. No, goalies aren't going to stop that most of the time.
And again, everyone in the chat agreeing, no one should really ever miss a penalty. It's always harder to save a pen than to score one. Yeah. And again, it's these people going, oh, she's a goalie, she had to save a penalty. She went the right, like, she did everything she possibly could, but she just couldn't physically save it. And yeah, there just seems to be, again, these perfection high standards.
There's even the standard that if the ball, like physically, for goalies, they've done the test and said physically for goalies, if a ball is put into the corner of the net, it is physically impossible to stop. Under the rules currently given, where goalies can't move until the ball is struck and can't come off their line.
Oh, yeah.
And it's physically impossible for a human body to cover that distance if the penalty is put in the corner. And so to sit there and go, oh, she didn't stop a penalty.
Honestly, some people just have zero idea. And it's like, I really wish there was like like the national team, and then like, no, when we all see in the Olympics, oh, we wish there's just like an average person in there to just really prove how good they are. Just like against like an average Sunday league team. Just to show, actually, you know, you can whinge all you want about standards and whatever, but they're actually doing a damn good job, and they need and deserve more respect than a lot of people are currently giving them. So yeah, so we all know the truth. We all know that we're here to support the players and to make sure they're okay. And a lot of people, I was just about to say that, Graham, read my mind. Those people with the ego should put them in goal to face some penalties, see how many they save. Exactly.
I mean, I actually have. I can speak with a little bit of authority because I have done this.
Oh, go on then.
When against championship players, I have in training and stuff, I've had the opportunity to take penalties against goalies who I would, Kiara Keating. I've taken a penalty against Kiara Keating and scored. And the reason I scored is because she didn't know which way I was going, and I just ran up and wedded the bloody thing. Like, I'm not claiming there was any science to it whatsoever. But and there is also the argument she possibly wasn't trying as hard as she might do against someone who could actually play football. But you know, if I can score a penalty against a goalkeeper who's played for England once, then that even once that says something about how hard it is to stop a penalty. And then I went in goal against, and honestly, I didn't even see half of them. Like, I didn't even have time. I didn't even have time to dive.
Yeah,
because you don't know which way you're going to go. They, you have someone like Mary McAteer come running up, and you're like, I don't know what I'm looking for, but I think I'm looking for the shape of her foot or something like that. And the next thing, the ball is already traveling by you, and you're just like, no, I can't.
You just what? What's happening?
Like, you could have given me warning. It's like, you had 5 seconds.
Wolzensberger.
No, I was more mobile than she was. I was, more mobile than Daphne Van Domselaar as well. I made more of an effort than she did on Myra Maria's goal. But I just think anyone who thinks they can do what elite athletes can do is deluding themselves. So
deluded. It's like when they from those random surveys that they give out, and it's like, would you be able to fight a bear and win? And like 70% of men were like, yeah, I can fight a bear and win. It's like, no, you can't. Unless it's like this big and not real, then it's.
It's the level like I like to complain because I play ice hockey and I am not good at it. I am literally Sunday league level. But it still makes me laugh when people come up and go, I could do what you do. No, you can't. No. You can't do what I do. And you definitely can't do what professional players do. Even though the theory that I have is the only difference between me and a professional ice hockey player. We both do the same things. They just do them a lot quicker.
Yeah.
That is the only difference. But football, it's the speed of thought. I got the chance to have a bit of a kick around. I got the chance to have a bit of a kick around with some of the Coventry United team in a five-a-side game. And the speed of thought, I consider myself enough that I can read a game and have some idea of where a ball is going to go, and still didn't get near it. Because by the time your average human being is reacting and seeing the ball and going, right, okay, I think it's going to go that way, an elite athlete has already thought of about 4 different options and decided which one they're going to take and done it. And it's just, I genuinely don't, because they make it look so easy. I just think fans don't realise the level that elite footballers are playing at.
No, they don't.
When they sit and watch it.
Oh, and again, it's a lot of keyboard warriors, and we know most people wouldn't dare say it to anyone's face, but unfortunately, those are the ones that cut through the loudest aren't they? Not the support of like they do see the supportive ones, of course, but yeah, it'll always be the negative ones that stick with you, won't they? That's just, again, it's human nature. But I think Matthew said earlier, it's the fact that loads of people want to see Mary Earps in goal. So anytime Hannah Hampton does anything remarkably, anything negative at all, they're gonna be like, right, that's it, that's a chance. And it's just, it's not on, is it? But yeah, Sophie saying, I barely play Sunday League and I've been training for around 18 months. But no, it's, elite athletes are just a completely different kettle of fish, aren't they? Hey, Sophie with the stats as well. I think they did a study that found elite goalies' brains are literally wired differently and can process information so much quicker. I love that, like a little circuit board just working.
That is it. Like I think it's people who, if you're involved in the sport, like I try and explain the way I watch football to people, and people are like, "How do you see all 22 people?" I'm like, "Don't know. I just kind of do." As a commentator, you just instinctively go. Like Graham says there, a professional is at least 3 moves ahead of a fan. Like, if I'm watching and commentating, my brain is anticipating and moving 2 or 3 moves ahead. And I think most commentators are doing that. But if you put me on the pitch, I won't be able to do it.
No.
Like, and fans sat in the stands can probably see something and go, oh, yeah, I would have done that. Yeah, would you have done it on the pitch? I very much doubt it because you don't have 3 replays to react.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got one chance, half a second, and that's it.
Yeah. So people on social media just, again, need to take a breath, take a walk outside, get some fresh air, which will forever be the quote for this.
Go out and touch grass.
Yeah. Remember, the world you live in is real, or is it? So not the best window. Apparently attendance was only around 20,000 as well.
Which was a third less than the than the Arnold Clark Cup, or whatever it was last February. And again, I think in that you see the lack of marketing, you see the lack of major tournament, you see the fact that everyone has, if not forgotten that England are European champions, that it's just kind of there now. It's late in that cycle. It's not the same England team. They've lost the World Cup since, and I think that kind of took a bit of the momentum out because the World Cup was not convinced. They got to the final, but it wasn't in a convincing. It wasn't as feel good and swashbuckling as it was the Euros.
And it's mad because getting to the final of a World Cup is incredible. It's insane, and yet a lot of people were going, "Oh, we didn't win though." Yeah, we didn't, and we can box that up and talk about that separately. But can we just talk about the fact that they got to a final of a World Cup? Like, can we just acknowledge that progress and acknowledge where we got? So yeah, it's just, again, the viewpoints some people have got are very, very bizarre indeed. But yeah, down again to marketing now. Looking ahead, I think that's everything, to be honest. 2 more fixtures coming up. USA and Switzerland. USA, as we said, is going to be at Wembley again. And Switzerland is going to be at Bramall Lane, I believe, in Sheffield. So, Paul, what do you think then Serena's got to really think about before that next window? Is it something as simple as team selection, or is it got to be like a whole back to the drawing board, brand new England, essentially?
I think we are 9 months out of the Euros?
Yeah, is it June?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Okay. 10 months out from the Euros.
Yeah.
The time to do the back to the drawing board thing was after the World Cup. Serena didn't do it. That opportunity is missed.
Yeah.
But now, players like Aggie Beaver-Jones need to play against Switzerland. Maybe not against the USA because it's the USA.
Yeah.
But certainly against Switzerland, there needs to be players given a chance to stake their claim. because at the moment they haven't been.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's seeing how players react, isn't it, on that stage, and how they do, and how they, do they perform? Being told, actually, you're going to start on the bench. Like, what are these reactions and emotions going on, and who ultimately are going to be that best 11 with that one? So yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple of months until
I think Leah Williamson needs a rest. I think she should have been given her 50th cap against the USA.
That would have been a moment, yeah.
Because that would have been a moment. Now, I worry that putting her up against arguably the best attack in the world, or when she's already under scrutiny, could do her some real damage.
Yeah. I'm slightly worried about what that would do. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a friendly. There is nothing to be lost by playing Alex Greenwood and Millie Bright.
No. Alex Greenwood, again, who, if we're talking about form, should be starting without question. Fantastic defender that she is. Yeah. So I mean, we can only wait and see, can't we? But yeah, a lot to think about. Now, international window is of course over. Have there been any other moments, Paul, that have stood out for you during this break?
Goalie Thunder Bastard.
Yes, we haven't talked about this yet.
So this is the South African B team goalie, who I have managed to lose the name of because I thought you were going to mention it. I thought either you or Chloe was going to set it up, and I was going to rhapsodize about.
Hey,
the goal.
this was a you and Chloe thing. I've just.
So I am now desperately digging for it. But to describe the goal, it was a free kick from her own half.
Wow.
It was the kind of goal that you look at and go, that's obscene. That should not happen in any way, shape, or form. And I found it on Twitter, and yes, this is that award-winning journalism. Going back forth because I will find it eventually. The trouble is, of course, there's all the talk of us ranting in the group chat about last night's game. So I'm desperately trying to go back through when I can catch up. Lots of ranting about Leah Williamson. While we can do that, more ACLs. Portsmouth's goalie. 2 ACLs for Portsmouth, in fact.
Were they both ACLs? I knew they said long-term injury, but I didn't know they said ACL. Is it?
They were both ACLs, yes.
Oh, no. Portsmouth do not need anything else.
So that's the Portsmouth captain with an ACL. And Emily Pittman as well. And that has frantically filled the time. So Jessica Williams is the lady in question.
Okay, yeah.
Who plays for the South African Women's League club, simply known as Badgers, in the second division. And while we're there, some of the names in the South African Women's League are fantastic, just in general, because you have a team just called Porsche.
Brilliant.
Like, genuinely, which is just some girl from Surrey. Santos as well, who I always thought played in Brazil. RV United, who tend to camp out in front of their own goal. Thank you very much. See, Graham, I got there before you did. There you go. And Magic Ladies.
Magic Ladies. Oh, that's phenomenal.
Invincible Cravenby. He sounds like a minor Harry Potter character. Burnley, also playing the South African Women's League. HBU, which I always thought was "How about you" in emoji, but no, apparently it's. And also the Goal Hunters.
The Goal Hunter. Wow.
The Goal Hunters.
I mean, hey, state your intention. Who
aren't doing very well because they're 6 out of 9.
Oh.
But anyway, enough of that. Jessica Williams, who plays in that league, the Western Cape Stream B, she currently plays for. She is a 24-year-old. She is in and around the South African women's national team, but wasn't obviously in the group. And basically, the free kick that she took was in a South African, so it was in an international game, and it was a strike from maybe just inside the opposition half, but it was a full-on thunder bastard, like a low and hard. It wasn't a big lob. It was a full-on driven thunder bastard into the top corner. Like if Danny was on, Danny would be rhapsodizing about it. All you need to know is that we asked the official thunder bastard judge, Danny, can we arbitrate on this? And his instant response was absolutely textbook Thundy B. So if Danny calls it a textbook Thundy B, it's a textbook Thundy B. So have a search. It's Jessica Williams, South Africa women's B team.
I know we're gonna have to tweet it out, aren't we? And just get everyone to see what it was. Just
see the absolute ridiculousness of it.
No, I love it. Oh, Chris, I meant to say you were forgiven for joining us late. Yes, we did talk about this at the beginning. So England and 17s Women's World Cup semi-final tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I believe. First semi-finals on tonight at 11, so hopefully we'll be finished by then. And so if you're still awake, you can watch it. I think that's USA and can't remember, USA. And the second one is on tomorrow. With that one. Well, hey, right then. But of course, international break is over, and we're back to the WSL and Women's Championship. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All matches are on Sunday this week for the WSL. Let's have a little look. So we've got Manchester United versus Arsenal kicking us off at 12:30. Brighton against Leicester City, Palace against Man City, and Spurs against West Ham are all kicking off at 2 o'clock. Then it's Aston Villa versus Liverpool and Everton versus Chelsea at 6:45. I believe it's on Sky Sports, that one, again, because it's Sunday at 6:45. But yeah, I know I went through those really quickly, Paul, sorry. USA, North Korea. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much indeed.
Nice political game there.
I know, yeah.
They don't happen anymore. Do you remember the France 98 World Cup? You might not, but the France USA played Iran and everyone lost their minds. And it was massively political.
And just people going for it. But yeah, no, we don't have those anymore, do we?
People don't really mention them because FIFA have banned most of the teams that might be involved in those games, as they should.
As they should. Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to try and share my screen for those scores and fixtures. Right, can we see that?
We can.
Lovely. So any matches there, Paul, that take your fancy? What do you think is going to be good this weekend? Tell the people.
The game I actually picked because I was asked by friend of the show and commentator extraordinaire Michael McCann which game.
You bow down to Michael McCann.
We do, as one of the excellent people who actually cares about pronouncing women's footballers' names. But he was asking which one of those games would you pick if you were looking for the best one to commentate on, and I straight away said Villa Liverpool in that group. Brighton Leicester is an interesting one, possibly. Pre-season would have been more interesting. Palace Man City at Selhurst Park.
I think that's going to be quite a good one, you know.
I think that's going to be. I think Man City will pull that off, but I think it's.
I think Palace is a good run. Yeah.
But Spurs West Ham is an interesting one. But of those, Man United Arsenal is the obvious one. But you know, everybody's going to pick that one out. So the game I would pick out as the best of the rest is probably Villa Liverpool.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one because we're talking Liverpool being the bogey team for Villa last season. And again, Liverpool have strengthened, but so have Villa. So I think if Villa work it out and get it right, because I don't know if I said this last game of the season, we spoke to Robert DePau after the match and we were saying, look, we can see what you're doing. You know, we're so much better than what we were. And he was like, yeah, but we need results. Like, so he's very much, he can see the progress, but knows very much it still is a results-based game. So yeah, so hopefully.
Every time you mention his name, I just hear the Adams family. Like it's a made chant for Adams family, isn't it? Just Robert DePau. There you go. There's a free one. There's a free one, Villa fans. There's one for you, and there's the Villa songbook. There you go.
I love it. I absolutely love it. But
you
yeah,
can chant Villa for the second half. So you go Robert DePau, Villa, Robert DePau, like that. There you go.
Oh, well done. Yes, right. Write it down, Emma and Sophie, if you're still watching. We'll get it. We'll get it in. Hey, we'll take that. Thank you very much. And then for the championship. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, China in your hand was Robert DePau. They have China in their hand. There you
go. Hopefully goals in the hand. Right, let's do share screen.
I'll expect that though. I will expect to hear that chant the next on the FA.
We'll sing it loud and proud.
Absolutely fired out. Robert DePau, Villa, like that. There you go. Just it's
we'll get everyone singing it. Yeah, no, that's good. I like it.
As a Coventry, even Brummies can't get that one wrong.
Hey, the fewer syllables better. Trying to fit Robert DePau's Claret and Blue Army into a chant is quite hard. Carla Ward was perfect. Robert DePau's just one syllable too many.
Rob DePau.
Yeah, so we're like, do we know him well enough to call him Bobby yet? Bob DePau. No. So yeah, we'll get around that one at some point. Now we've got championship fixtures. So we've got Sheffield United versus London City on Saturday. Then we've got Blackburn, Durham, Charlton, Southampton, Sunderland, Bristol, Birmingham, Newcastle. I know which one I think is going to be quite good. Paul, what about you?
I suspect we picked the same one. I suspect we picked the Birmingham. Have you picked Birmingham, Newcastle?
Birmingham, Newcastle.
Charlton, Southampton
will also be good.
An interesting one because it's two teams who, for different reasons, are both desperate for a win. Charlton need one because they have had their slight, they're coming off the Newcastle comeback, but also they've stalled ever so slightly by only getting points instead of wins. And Southampton are just desperate for a win.
Yeah.
Sunderland Bristol City is an interesting one as well.
Yeah. Again, Sunderland home got that advantage, but Bristol, you know how hard Bristol play. Like
second longest trip in the championship.
Yeah. So hopefully,
it's probably about the third or fourth now because Portsmouth, aren't they?
Portsmouth
and Southampton.
Portsmouth, of course, not playing this weekend. Probably for the best.
Are they not? Portsmouth missing 2 games then? Because Portsmouth aren't playing the final weekend of the season. So how's that work?
They're not. Well, they missed 2, don't they? 2 weekends.
Yeah. Yes, games do miss 2 weekends. Yes.
Yeah.
Home and away.
Yeah, home and away.
Closer each day. There you go. As a reference.
Wow, that's a throwback.
It's not a throwback. It's still on. Home and away.
It's still on.
It's still on. Incidentally.
Yeah.
Coolest thing. Time I've been most jealous of my brother. He lives in Melbourne, and he moved up there with his partner. First weekend he lives out there. He's exploring. Him and his new partner. Well, him and his partner who lived out there anyway are exploring. And he sends me a picture of this random house and goes, "Do you recognise this?" And I'm like, I recognise that house. Why do I recognise a random house in Melbourne? And he goes, "Do you know where it is?" And I'm like, Now you're going to have to give me a clue. He goes, it's Ramsey Street. I'm like, pardon?
Oh, they found it.
Pardon? He's like, oh yeah, I'm sat outside Luke Carpenter's house. It's like, really? That's the most random. And see, there we go. Round. This is the randomness. We've gone from WSL to talking about.
Hey, we've gone all the way around. And the best one, we said Graham won the evening earlier. This one made me chuckle. Poland versus Austria. Don't mention the VAR.
Yeah, see,
oh,
round of applause. That's a beauty.
Well done.
That one.
Well done. Well done. That just really made me chuckle. So I had to start that, Graham, to come back to.
And it is two games they would have played against Reading. Yes, Chris is indeed absolutely right.
Hey, Chris has done it.
And he also pointed out first round of the Women's FA Cup, first round proper this weekend.
Oh, yes, I did star that. Hang on. Yep. First round proper, Spennymoor Town ladies away to Burnley women. Oh, that'd be a good one. Second time the Mousers are in the first round proper. Very tough indeed. Yes, we'll keep some updates coming from that first round as well. It's exciting, isn't it? Football's back.
We'll have a match if they do pull off a shock up the Spenny. So is it up the Spenny or is it up the Moors? There you go.
Don't know. Chris, let us know. What do we say?
What do we say? Do we say up the Spenny or do we say up the Moors?
We shall wait.
We're sat there, the tension now as we wait in the group chat.
Yeah.
award-winning tension here. This is the kind of thing that people tune in for.
This is when Chris has gone to bed. We're waiting forever. But yeah, no, it's we've got definitely some juicy fixtures coming up there. And Graham said he's peaked. Yes. No, life is not downhill because remember we're back next Wednesday, Graham. We are back next Wednesday.
Life is not downhill because just like Clackett Lane, it'll come around again if you're driving around the M21.
If in doubt, you'll always end at Clackett Lane. Services of the people.
Official services of the award-nominated Absolute Football Women's Podcast.
Honestly, we need to get sponsored. We need to tweet them at some point and be like, hey, we mention your services about 90 times a podcast. Would you consider?
Maybe we could get a discount card at the Burger King there or something.
Yeah, that could be good.
Maybe they have a Costa. So you can tell we've now reached the after dark part of the evening where we're talking about Costa at Clackett Lane.
It's probably time we leave, isn't it? I mean, it's still waiting on Chris. We'll have to come back tomorrow, see if he's replied. Now, so we've got our predictions for next week. Anything else you want to say, Paul, before we go?
Thank you for sticking with us randomly. It is always appreciated. And just to reiterate, I don't actually think that there is an occult portal beneath the Etihad. That was said for comic effect, even though Jill Ward's recovery is supernatural.
It is. Paul's actually got his fingers crossed. He didn't actually mean any of that. Chris, there we go. They usually try and move us at both the men's and the ladies' games. So there you go. There we go.
Up the moors.
Up the moors. There we go.
I attempted a northeast accent then.
You did.
And straight away, you shouldn't have. The support. Lovely person.
I can't say moors. It mouth feels wrong. Moors. Right then, if you have enjoyed this wonderfully random podcast that was meant to be about internationals, then come and join us some more. We have got it's not just us on a Wednesday, of course, talking all things women's football. We talk Premier League on a Monday with a lovely Premier League. I was going to say Premier League cast there. No, with the Premier League pod. And we do Absolutely Lower League on a Thursday as well, all at 8:30. Now, we are very, very active on the following. So please do give us a follow, a like, subscribe. And remember, it makes us very, very happy when you do. So on Twitter, not calling it X, at Absolute Ball Pods, YouTube at Absolute Football Podcast, and the same for Twitch. On TikTok, we are at Absolute Football Pod, and Instagram is Absolute Football Podcast _ and same for Threads in case anyone's using that. And on Facebook, we are the Absolute Football Podcast. So yeah, give us a like, subscribe, follow, share, ritual, whatever you like to do.
Ritual, careful. That's just Man City, allegedly.
Just Man City. Just one last one for Sophie. Book does rhyme with Luke. Yes, absolutely. But look is not Luke. So yes. We need a special Freya and Shaw Speak Like Me episode. Oh dear me, we need subtitles for that one. That's absolutely what we'll do. You have a lovely weekend too, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us. But yeah, Paul, thank you so much. Just the two of us right at the end. If people would like to see more of your rantings and ravings, where can they find you?
On there. And you can see we've been on so long, my nail polish is chipped off. No, Paul W Radio is on there, and most of it's ranting about, at the moment, eyeshadow and sky blue eyeshadow, because they won at the weekend finally. Simon wasn't in the chat, but I was just like, we'll get that mention in. And yeah, hashtag up the moors. There you go. That was speak like Freya. There you go.
I'll give you all like a sentence to practice, and then you all come together. And yes, thank you so much to everyone who's been involved in the chat, even talked amongst yourselves. We really, really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. I
know what I did want to mention, because I'm really, really chuffed as a metalhead. Aston Villa tonight have Black Sabbath on their shirts for Halloween.
Hey, even better.
Which is amazing. Given my favourite bridge in the world is Black Sabbath Bridge in Birmingham, which is the Canal Bridge on Broad Street in the city centre. So there you go.
Another interesting point, talking of Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. When Villa women came out to Crazy Train at Bescott for the Cup game, they won. So we are now trying to do a petition to get Crazy Train in front of all the matches, because maybe that's the good luck song.
You need it, apart from anything else. Maybe you could get Rachel Daly to come out first and just do the all aboard scream. That's your marketing. Just the whole crowd.
Well, she would as well. She'd absolutely love that.
You'd either do that, or you just have the whole score, because you've got like a pause, and then you just count down 3, 2, 1, and then 2,000 people scream all aboard, and then the riff kicks in. See, I'm doing Villa's marketing job for them. I'm coming up with chants.
Well, good tonight.
I'm coming up with chants for you. I'm coming up with the marketing.
Hey, we'll hire you. Yeah.
There you go. You've got Chelsea hashtag hire Rosie, and now Villa hashtag hire Paul. There you go.
We need it. We absolutely need it. But yeah, speaking of Villa, I've got a brand new Villa Women podcast. We've been going a couple of weeks now. So if you would like to join us tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we are called Part of the Pride Pod, and you can follow us across all socials as well. I'm also at T for T Rights on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc. You'll find me somewhere. All women's football in general. We are the whole 115 yards as well. So basically, I'm everywhere. And you might get sick of it, but I do apologise. But thank you so much again.
Menacingly enough, you should just go, I'm everywhere. Just quiet. Yeah. Absolute dead.
I'm everywhere. Happy Halloween. Now, just see Rosie appearing at the window, and I was like, no.
Oh, don't mention. Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. We'll not say her name 3 times, don't worry.
2.5. Rosie, maybe not.
No. No, run away, turn the lights off. But yeah, no, thank you so much to everyone who's watched, listened, who's going to watch back later. We really, really appreciate it. So thank you, good evening, and good night. Goodbye. Thank you very much.